2012 Hyundai Sonata starter replacement. I'm Brian Eslick from How To Automotive. I'm going to walk you through the steps of replacing that. We're going to get started by disconnecting the negative battery cable. After disconnecting the negative battery cable, we're going to jack the car up. If you're doing this at home, use floor jacks and jack stands and get the front of the car up as high as you can. And we're going to remove the lower shields. Okay, to get the lower shield off, I'm just going to start with the bolts on the outer perimeter and just work my way around the perimeter of the shield and remove all the bolts and then lower the shield down. Okay, now that you got the lower shield off, just above the oil filter housing here, there's a little bracket right here. We need to remove this bracket, so we need to remove the bolts here, the 12 millimeter bolts here, 12 millimeter bolts here, and then right here the two 12 millimeter bolts there, and remove the bracket. It's got a little wire loom connected to it, so you're gonna have to pop that off too. Or actually, you could probably just leave it connected to it like this and just kind of stuff it out of your way. Okay, next we're going to remove the bolt right here that's holding the hoses, the little bracket for the hoses, so that way we can move the hoses left or right to work around the starter. So go ahead and remove that bolt. And to make quick work of this job, I'm using my Milwaukee M12 3/8 drive ratchet. This thing works great for jobs like this, getting inside intakes and stuff like that, removing bolts like that. So I'll leave a link for this in the description of the video. Okay, after getting this bracket unbolted, right here is one of the starter bolts we need to remove, but I'm going to remove the top one first. So you're going to take your hand and reach around the top like this, and the bolt you feel right there, the next bolt you feel is a 14 millimeter bolt like this. You're going to remove, and as you're removing these bolts, you can maneuver these hoses, coolant hoses, left or right or up or down, just to get them out of your way. And I'll show you my setup. So to get to the top bolt, I'm using a 3/8 drive ratchet, a flex head. And then there's just enough room, you torque it at a little angle to crack the bolt free. And I'm using a deep socket like this, a 14 millimeter, and then I'll crack it free. Once I crack it free with the longer ratchet like this, I'll switch over to a shorty ratchet like this and get the top bolt out. So after getting the top bolt out, then I'll switch over to my little air ratchet, my electric cordless ratchet here. Remove the bottom bolt. So when I looked this job up in the service manual, they actually told me to remove the throttle body and remove the intake manifold, but there's plenty of room here. Okay, now that you got the starter unbolted, you can pull it out like this and kind of twist it and maneuver it with the wires and everything still connected. You can maneuver it out over here and pull it over here where you can work on it. Now you can disconnect the electrical connector here, pull the boot back, and remove the nut and pull the cable off, and then you can pull the starter completely out. So after completely removing the starter and unbolting it, now you're going to take your new replacement starter, and I will be putting a link in the description of this video so you guys can pick that up. Now you can take the new starter and fish it back in between the wire and the hoses like you did, and then we'll restart, plug in the wire and the main power feed for it. So now I got the new starter stuffed in there. Just going to put the cable back on and then plug it back in. Okay, after getting the wires reconnected, now you're just going to put the starter back under the intake, and you want to rotate it where the solenoid is kind of facing towards the engine block a little bit like that, and then rotate it into position. And once you get it in position like that, you can go ahead and start your two bolts and tighten those down. Now that the starter is back in and secure, you can go ahead and remount the bracket for the hoses here and put the bolt in, start tightening that up. After you get that one tightened up, then you can take the bracket here, the support bracket, and reposition it and put the bolts in and tighten that up. Okay, after getting the brackets all bolted back up, you can go ahead and put the lower shields back on. Okay, after getting our lower shields back on, lowering the vehicle back down, we can go ahead and install our negative battery cable. After installing the negative battery cable, that'll complete the job of replacing the starter on a 2012 Hyundai Sonata. The manufacturer recommends pulling the intake off, but we did it without doing that, and we saved a ton of time. I'm Brian Eslick from How to Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos, encourage you to subscribe, invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this, and also to remind you there will be links in the description of this video for the parts and tools that I use. Thank you again for watching.